I saw Sky Captain last Friday, and when it was first popped into the DVD player, I thought, oh gee, robots and old-timey detective cliches, and I thought a good time would be had by all, but by the time the movie started, even the actors looked disappointed to be in it. We start off, of course, with Gwyneth Paltrow, who is one of the many actresses that doesn't do anything to derail her career. Shallow Hal, as the reporter Polly Perkins, which of course sounds like some sort of cliche detective name, so that's the only thing that works. They may have well called her Daisy Dunmore, and it would have been the same, because apparently the only interesting thing about her character is that her first and last name share the same first letter. In fact, I haven't seen a character with less development since Sean's girlfriend in Shaun of the Dead. He's changed, but she does the obvious cliche, I'm not changing anything about myself, you can do all the goddamn work, female routine. So after a bunch of robots are mysteriously unleashed upon the city, which apparently came from Dr. Steele, so I guess Whedon isn't the only one to have ripped off the idea of a singing evil scientist, she meets up with this guy who tells her of an evil scientist named Dr. Fucking Impossible to pronounce. And then of course we enter Sky Captain. Can you come up with a less faggoty name? He basically flies around in what looks like an outfit that Snoopy wore when fighting the Red Baron and unleashes a bunch of witty one-liners. His plane even has the evil eyes and grinning face on it, only to further prove my theory of him being 10. And his plane, which is fixed up with his friend, whom, by the way, they seem to have highly homosexual overtones, named Dax. Dax has apparently made his plane so that when he goes underwater, it can turn into sort of a submarine and can float, which in theory is cool, but you know the whole audience is waiting for them to get attacked by a great white. After much running around, doing nothing, and fighting droids that look like they were in Plan 9 from outer space before the movie lost its budget, which of course would actually make more sense for both these films, Sky Captain, or his real name Joe, which is so much more manly, and Polly Pisserpants find out that the base has been attacked and Dax has been taken, and nobody seems to give a right shit. So of course now we're on the usual wild goose chase road trip idea, which leads us to Nepal, where they find themselves trapped in a room with dynamite. After their fat friend saves them, the room blows up and Polly Pickle Farts realizes she doesn't have any film left and only has 2 shots. Fast forward to the end of the film, where they're on an island that clearly has King Kong influences, with giant pterodactyls and giant emus. They run across a log, she slips and takes a picture of the ground, which proves how great a reporter she is, just in case her name didn't do it for you to begin with. And later on, of course, they're on a spaceship. Actually, it's not a spaceship, it's an ark with a bunch of animals and a rocket, which makes a whole lot of fucking sense because I go to the theater to see elephants in space. By the end of the film, everything seems fine again. She takes a picture of Sky Captain, and that's when he realizes she had her lens on the whole time, which to me was the only redeeming part of the movie. She didn't die, so something had to happen to her. Now let me review it. Basically, it's like someone ate a bunch of comic books, drank a lot of NASA, and shit out an abortion. First off, the only thing I've ever seen that's been able to combine old-timiness with modern technology is the video game BioShock. Even the game doesn't do it well, but there's a difference between Sky Captain and BioShock, which is BioShock is good and makes fucking sense. Sky Captain is basically like some little kid who, when he was 8, had this great idea for a movie, then turned 16, did a bunch of pot, and thought the shit he came up with would make it even cooler. To top it off, it's called Sky Captain, not Space Captain, which is where they fucking end up. I didn't go to see a Star Trek ripoff, I went to see an abortion with NASA and comic book overtones. In fact, the only thing that would have made this movie tolerable was the fact that one guy in the end stepped on an electric strip and was disintegrated down to bones, which is funny because that's exactly what I was hoping would happen to me the entire fucking film.